2, 1.
The horror deconstruction.
What's up, everybody? It's the Horror Deconstruction. You can find us at horrordeconstruction.tumblr, and a lot of stuff too. With your host Alex
Steve Irwin.
and
Thea.
today's film is
Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps is a 2000 film. It's about two death-obsessed sisters, outcasts in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf.
That's actually a pretty accurate for the first time. That's like an
think
accurate.
so.
Pretty good, yeah.
I wonder if it came off the back of the DVD cover or whatever, but it's actually gets straight to the point. First of all, do you guys have any history with this, or?
Thea does, right?
No, well, not really. I mean, I watched it for the first time like probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Really?
Simply because I hadn't seen it and I felt like I needed to because it's Canadian.
Yeah.
Feel some pride, and also it's just kind of like it's a traditional coming of age tale, but with werewolves.
I think it's.
Also.
I primarily knew it because it was a Canadian film, a Canadian horror film that kind of.
Alex is obsessed with all things Canadian.
Yes, I am.
As he should be.
But I was, when you hear about a foreign, it's weird to say a foreign film with Canadians, not really foreign. But when you hear a film that's not a United States kind of horror film, when you hear about it, you're like, oh, it's pretty good, because for the most part, you're not really aware of other movies that come out in other markets because just how kind of closed off we are from other films.
Canada's pretty close, though.
Yeah, no, I would say.
We could touch each other's butts.
But I remember hearing about it and hearing it was really good. Myself, I'm not really into the werewolf genre. I don't really like it that much, but I remember hearing it's really good. It's a Canadian film. It's about these two girls. And then I saw probably bits and pieces of it throughout the years. And then when I finally saw it yesterday fully, I was like, wow. It made me respect Jennifer's Body even less because it was like basically a shot for shot.
Jennifer's Body was fun.
It was fun, but when I watched this, I realized Diablo Cody struck again because she sort of ripped off
like
the idea of
this
Juno.
movie did it better. It's
this is
to me they're completely different. Jennifer's Body is like fun and funny. This is more like dark.
You don't think this is fun and funny at all?
Not funny. It reminded me of Heathers or something.
Yeah, I see that in a way.
Like dark comedy kind of.
Although better done.
Let's set up how it is, and then I'll get into the Jennifer's Body stuff. But so. Thea, what's the basic premise besides that byline I just read?
So these two sisters are outcasts in high school, and they want to get back at sort of the popular girl that keeps picking on them, and they go to, I can't even remember, they go to do something to her dog or something to mess with her. But on the way there, Ginger, who's the older sister, I believe, gets attacked by a werewolf.
Although I was given this revelation by Thea, she's actually younger than the little sister actress.
She is.
By a few years.
4 years younger or something like that.
These are two, I guess, sort of goth girls, but not really gothic in a way. They were just more like dark-natured girls.
They're like Daria, but werewolves.
Yeah, one of them kind of reminds me of Kristen Stewart for some reason, the younger one.
Come on, don't say that.
She didn't remind you of that kind of dull stare?
No, come on, don't say that. Don't ever bring her into this.
Bridget, who is the kind of the protagonist of the film. And there's also her sister, played by Catherine Isabel, who plays Ginger, who's a very striking face. I actually found her more attractive when she had the sharp teeth in her mouth for some reason.
Yeah, she's got the perfect body. It's great. It's perfect, and
always Danny coming to the.
She is older than me, and it makes me not a pedophile because she was of age when this was filmed.
Patriarchy, Can you hear it, ladies? Patriarchy, disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
yeah.
But anyway, so
it's a man's world.
Justification.
These two girls, they like to take photos of themselves in simulated death sequences.
What's the name of that photographer from the 60s that used to always... It was a woman, she used to always take pictures of herself in different, senes and stuff?
Aunt Jemima.
I have no idea.
And yeah, it was Aunt Jemima, you're right.
She used to simulate her death or something like that?
No, she just took... Yeah, I don't know. She just took pictures of herself in different scenes and costumes, but it was
she sounded like a real asshole. No,
right.
You talking about the lady with
and she also sold maple syrup.
The one with the unibrow, the Mexican lady?
And she was an old black woman.
No, was it Frida Kahlo or?
No, it wasn't. It was somebody in the pop art time. I can't think of her damn name. Whatever.
All right. Thanks for derailing us. So anyway,
well, no, it reminded me of that when I was watching it. It reminded me of her.
So these two sisters are outcasts. There's a clique of girls that kind of screw with them. What sport was that, Thea? Was that like high or something?
Lacrosse, probably.
Lacrosse. Oh yeah, we got that over here. And I thought it was some crazy Canadian game. And they're obviously picking on these two girls. The sisters. There's a kid who kind of reminds me of like a phony Johnny Depp who's driving around. He's a weed dealer, and he has his own.
A weed dealer.
He has his own greenhouse somewhere out in the.
Yeah, doesn't he get caught? You know, the helicopters can get that shit with infrared and stuff.
This is Canada, bro. They don't care.
They don't.
They don't give a shit. No.
They don't really. Oh,
do they really not care in Canada about drug stuff like that or no?
What you mean, like?
Is there a war on drugs in Canada?
I think it varies depending on where you live.
This is actually just
an expert.
This was actually just a podcast, an intervention for Thea because she's heavily into drugs, and we're trying to.
I am addicted.
She actually takes pot intravenously now. She's gotten to that point.
The first step is admitting it, I think, or something, or denial. I can't remember which one.
We're gonna have to ship you off to a clinic or something.
But
that's probably for the best.
There's that one kid who's attracted to Ginger as. I can't
remember.
It also kind of had the vibe of that Incision movie a little bit, like the awkwardness.
Excision.
Excision, yeah.
The girls remind me of that character.
Yeah, especially the little sister.
This film, yeah, I can see. I'm sure they took her character out of this one. I mean, all those films, all they have.
You gotta love awkward goth girls.
A lot of them in common. They're all like a lot of coming of age, like Thea says. They basically all share the same kind of man outside kind of feeling. Like you can pull Excision, you can say Donnie Darko, you can say.
They should get Bridget and Donnie together. That would make a great couple.
But Donnie has an airplane that fell on him, or engine that.
Yeah,
fell
but
on him.
I mean, once he recovers from that shit,
okay.
You know?
There's also what's that other
spoilers? Spoilers. For
spoiler.
What's that other film that had that we did already with Teeth? That kind of film, you know, it's like this is like the female side of growing up, and they deal with the girls not really having their periods, and Ginger gets
These
her
women
period.
really deal with a lot of things.
Yeah,
according to horror movies, at least.
Side note: I had to look up for myself. They're playing field hockey. They're not playing lacrosse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Now, can I ask you, Thea?
There's somebody who wiped their
The girls
brow.
really bleed that much the first time they get their period?
I think particularly when they're werewolves.
That's true. Okay. Well, as a girl,
all right, then leave her alone. Okay, so this movie deals with the whole implications of sexual nature and growing up and the weirdness of a woman's body, dealing, you know, her own, you know, foreign nature of her. Do I sound like an asshole that never heard of a vagina
You sound
before?
like a Dr. Phil.
I sound like the teacher from Teeth trying to explain this movie, but it's dealing with, you know, the sexual nature.
You sound like
of
the
young
counselor
girls, right?
in this movie.
I do.
Yeah, you're like the guidance counselor.
So, Thea, what did you
That's
take
like one
away?
of my favorite scenes.
What did you take away from this film as a female viewer?
Well, as a female viewer,
that it sucks, and also being a werewolf also sucks. And when those two things happen at the same time, it's a hurricane of bad.
Yeah,
It's.
I can imagine.
I'm wondering, like, did you guys get anything from this movie, like being from a dude's perspective?
I got that there
Did
are
you
good
enjoy
werewolf movies out there because they're so far and few between.
Yes.
No.
This and Dog Soldiers, basically.
Yeah, that was the other.
Yeah,
like,
and
film that I
also
meant.
what's this American Werewolf like?
Yeah, and that one.
That's about it, though, you know? And there's this one movie I saw as a kid that I swear to God I must have hallucinated the whole thing because I have searched and searched and cannot find it.
The Howling.
He's not even
is
gonna
okay.
explain it.
What?
Are you not even gonna explain what you were talking about? You just said it reminds me of this movie that I couldn't
Weird
find,
movie.
and then you kind of just went ... And you didn't say. anything else.
That movie? Well, that's like for another tale. I think I already wrote it on our Tumblr like a year ago, trying to find out if anyone knew about it.
What happened in it? Though?
I'll tell you.
Christ.
It's about
Okay.
werewolves and vampires are everywhere in this city, and it's like kind of like a half a cop movie. The cops trying to find out where these deaths are happening, and the viewer, the audience, can see that the werewolves have an aura that's like orange, and the vampires have like a purple aura, but like normal people in that world can't see it. And then at the end, they have a big battle, and they're biting each other like back and forth, and they're turning from werewolf to vampire.
Is it Underworld?
What the fuck is this movie?
Underworld?
I want to see it again. No, it's not. No, that's what everyone keeps saying. It was way before Underworld. I was like 10.
Oh, I see. Was it Monster Squad?
It was from like the 80s or something. I was like, no, it's not Monster Squad. It was like a serious movie. It gets me so angry. Everybody keeps saying Underworld.
Serious movie with orange werewolves and purple vampires.
They had auras. That's how you can tell.
I think this is a dream you had.
That sounds like Lucky Charms.
I know. I swear to God, though, it was like a whole movie, like a coherent movie.
Danny's full of
Dreams
shit.
feel like that sometimes.
Anyway,
It wasn't a dream.
that sounds like the ending of a horror film when Danny wakes up right before the fucking ending. Anyway, yeah, what I got from this movie was as a guy watching, I found it to be like a horrifying movie to be in a woman's body and dealing with these issues. Like when the lady is explaining to her how she has to deal with a period like every 28th day out of the month. And I was like, oh my God, That's so scary. That's almost just as scary as turning into a werewolf, like having to deal with these kind of body cramps and all this shit. And how, how disturbing it is and how foreign your body becomes to you. Just for that, with guys, all we do is, like, get erections. That's it. And, you don't got to worry about fucking having to,
Well, we get kidney stones and things. Well, so do women. Yeah, you guys have it bad.
Danny,
yeah, we have it pretty bad.
They can, like, they have these, they have to bear children, and oh my God, it sounds like a fucking nightmare, honestly.
But they have boobs. Come on.
Yeah, but that only goes so much, bro. So what did you guys
If I
think?
had boobs, I would just play with them all day long.
I think you've said that like 50 times on other podcasts. So
I say it outside.
At least once per podcast.
I say it outside of podcasts. I say it every day.
What did you guys think of the girls' relationships in this film? Because it's similar to other horror films I've seen before. It's like Jennifer's Body, and films basically where there's like two people and they're either they're friends or they're related, and then once one becomes popular, they kind of shuffle off and do their own thing and leaves the protagonist in a shitty way.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about?
I don't understand why the protagonist always stays by their side, though. I would just be like, "Fuck you," and leave.
Well, in this case, it's because they're sisters.
Yeah, okay, but in a lot of the other movies, it's just like a friend who's fucking over another friend.
Yeah, in Jennifer's Body, I'd be like, I'd just kill her.
That's what they did. I mean, it shows you how much better they did it with this film than in Jennifer's Body, because they even did the whole
Jennifer's Body is a comedy. This was not a comedy.
I get it, but
I don't know.
Danny, look at it this way.
It kind of
They're both.
I don't think they're the same. It's like, they have a similar story, but they're totally different.
I'm not saying that they're the same film, but they're basically pulling from the same well of two girls that are in the same kind of league, and then one gets really popular, but
that could be applied to like 50 movies probably.
Yeah, but this film almost has like the same sequences where the girl's walking down the middle of the hallway of the school while everybody's checking her out, just like in Jennifer's Body. They have the best friend trying to sleep with the friend's boyfriend, just like this film. You know what I mean? It's very, you can see that they almost
and at its core, it's like they're both monster movies basically.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean, watching that. You just realize how much better this one is. It's more compact and it feels a lot more in the vein of like Evil Dead and those kind of classic.
And it makes me think
movies.
of Ginger Cookies.
Yeah, I think I couldn't get over that. That's probably why I never watched it. It's the stupidest reason, but like Ginger Snaps, like it just sounds like cookies, but it's such like a smarter name for a movie than anything.
You kind of think of it actually being Ginger's name and being like, well, Ginger Snaps.
Or She Bites.
Or She Bites.
What was that? Because I just finished recording it again. They had this film actually was two other films following it, right? Ginger Snaps. What was it? Ginger Snaps on the.
And then there's a prequel. It's like the beginning or something, and it's them 100 years earlier or something.
There's Unleashed and there's Ginger Snaps Back.
Did either of you guys watch those? Because I didn't watch them. I just read the storylines, and I kind of wasn't interested in them because.
Yeah, it sounds stupid. The first one, they supposedly they filmed them back to back, and the.
Actually, that's not true. I have seen the second one.
The sequel or the prequel?
And it was good.
Oh, the sequel was
I
good?
forgot. It was actually pretty decent. Yeah.
But Ginger's not in it though.
No, it's
She's
just
like
the
a
sister.
flashback, right, or something like that. Because
Okay.
I watched the trailer last night for part 2, and you can see they show Ginger for like a couple of seconds. Like I think she's part of her consciousness or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's like, Ginger's law instead of Harry's law.
It was filmed like 5 years after the original, right, or something, like a long time.
Yeah, it's a completely different movie, like in terms of mood.
Bridget looks like a grown woman.
What is it like? Is it more serious or more funny?
It's more serious, definitely more serious, because her sister, like Bridget, goes into an insane asylum at one point.
No one believes her. She has proof
and no one believes her.
Dead werewolf.
But she's hiding the fact that she's like starting to become a werewolf too.
Right.
So
but she
she's
had the
like,
cure in the needle.
But the monkshood only works for like a certain amount of time.
Oh, way to spoil it for me.
Well, that's in the movie though. That's in the actual first one.
Do
too,
they explain what happens to the guy? Yeah, they do explain. But what happens?
It doesn't work permanently.
Did they explain what happens to the guy who slept with Ginger in the first film? Because I know he gets affected and has that whole werewolf thing happen to him where he starts.
Oh, when he was peeing the blood, it was just making me think of the kidney stone I had because that's what I looked like.
So they don't explain what happens to him in the sequel at all, or?
No, the sequel picks up a few years later, I think. So you don't actually you don't really have to worry about what happened to the rest of the people in it.
Okay, it's weirder because when you see the trailer for the second one, Bridget looks completely different.
Yeah, she does. She looks
like a grown woman, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah. You know, when they have these movies with like the mean, awkward teenagers, and they're being so mean to their parents, I always feel bad for the parents. I really do. Like that mom was not bad. She was just like a ditz or something. But like
super annoying.
Yeah, but like, come on.
But
so then they ditched her. Could you imagine she walks in that party knowing her daughter killed someone, she's gonna like protect them, and they just leave her, and then she comes home and finds her daughter dead, and there's like all this blood everywhere? That like sucks for the mom.
What did you guys think of the first?
Where did she go wrong?
Poor mom.
What did you guys think of the first?
The sweaters. That's where she went wrong.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the first werewolf design that when it starts attacking them? You don't really see it. You only see it in bits and pieces. But I thought that was pretty effective, the way they had that sequence where they both get attacked in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
It was scary. I liked it.
It was pretty well done. I mean, I've only seen like a handful.
The ginger one had boobs. Did you notice that?
I guess I didn't really pay attention. Danny, you're real.
I was like actually pausing it on the boobs.
He paused it several times.
I was playing in slow motion so you could see the undulating boob of the wolf.
I thought it was pretty much like Heather's as well when that first girl gets killed accidentally. They didn't necessarily have to hide her body. Why do you think they did that?
Well, yeah, they did.
Why'd they have to hide her body if she killed herself by falling on her head and cracking it open?
Right, but...
Because they were like, we'll get blamed.
Now, did Ginger actually take her dog? Or is she wrong? I thought she did.
She ate her dog, didn't she?
It didn't say it clearly that she definitely did or not.
Yeah, I was kind of like phasing when that part happened. I didn't know what was going on because she had like a big giant like Rottweiler, right?
Yeah. And then she came over saying Ginger stole her dog.
Because she definitely ate that little kid's dog and ate him, and then or no, maybe that
he ate her own dog.
That kid who had sex with Ginger ate somebody's. Oh, he ate his own dog.
Why do you think dogs don't like werewolves? Is it because they realize that wolves are what they used to be, and this is a human with a wolf, so it's more superior than they could ever hope to be?
No, I think it's just like when they have, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, when they say they have...
I'm trying to get into the psychology of it.
Of a dog?
Yeah.
Or a werewolf.
It's kind of like when, when they say when cats see ghosts, they're kind of just staring at something in the room that's not there, that you can't see. It's just like animals have that heightened sense and know not to fuck around with stuff. When dogs bark at giant bears, even though the bears.
Yeah, but if you know this thing is a werewolf, you know it's going to kill you. So don't bark at it. Run.
They just know that it's a beast that probably is not on the nice tip, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like
they also bark at Terminators. I mean, how do the dogs know what a Terminator is versus a human? How could they tell? And why do they dislike robots? They're just metal.
You don't understand why there was another Japanese janitor in this film, which reminded me of the janitor from Night of the Creeps. Remember?
Yeah.
It's this guy. This one was the opposite. He had like a bald head, and he got killed, unfortunately. And
poor janitors. They're always suffering in these
Japanese
movies.
janitors. What did you think of Ginger's design when she turns evil and stuff? I think it's pretty cool with the white hair and all that stuff on her face.
I like the gradual transitions they do of like sort of like the little hairs popping up out of the cut, and then the tail sprouting.
Yeah, because the film takes place over a month, right? It's like September, and then towards the end of October when they have this big giant party, and I guess they're trying to correlate her turning into a werewolf with her having her period.
This is basically a movie about a woman becoming a woman.
Yeah, I guess that's it's a parable,
and also
about,
a werewolf at the same time.
It's a parable about somebody feeling alienated inside their own body, I guess, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you guys think were the worst aspects of the film? Did you guys think anything didn't work, or?
Well, it gets a little like you know that movie The Craft.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes in that direction a little bit,
Craft,
like a little cheesy sometimes.
What didn't you like about The Craft? The Craft was awesome.
I like The Craft, yeah.
It was awesome, but it's also a little bit cheesy.
What parts?
I don't know. Like, the whole thing is a little cheesy.
I really don't know what's cheesy about that movie.
I don't know. I found it a little cheesy, and this could be a little cheesy too, but I like it a lot, you know. I would definitely watch it again, and it's a good werewolf movie, which is very rare. So,
Thea, what did you think?
I don't know. I guess I would just pick, like, the dude being a huge jerk, but that's pretty much what he's supposed to be.
He's too over the top kind of jerk, the horny kid that was trying to have sex with
him. Yeah, but like that's what he's supposed to be.
Even
so it's not a bad thing.
He wasn't that bad. I've seen worse jerks than him.
Does this look like typical Canadian fare to you, or?
I don't know. Like, it feels kind of universal to me. It doesn't really feel like
like
specifically
movie,
Canadian.
Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known this was Canadian necessarily if I didn't read it. You know?
Because it's like when you find out that X-Files was filmed in Canada, and you're like, "What? This whole show's made in Canada?" But then
it's because all the aliens are in Canada.
I read that the actress who plays Ginger will not do nude scenes in movies, and that whenever it shows her nude in a movie, it's a body double, and that made me sad. Because I want to see her boobs, and I can't. Because even if I see them, I'm looking at someone else.
She's in a new horror movie.
You sound like a raving psychopath this episode.
He just wants boobs. He just wants boobs all the time. I
just want boobs.
You really sound hard up this episode for some reason.
I'm a little horny lately.
Danny is feeling the pangs of loneliness. He has his own apartment. Is how it's exhibiting.
He has his own apartment in New York City now.
It's 100% truth. He is on to me.
Danny's trying to make a poon hound out of himself in his new apartment. That's what it is. Fucking
yeah.
Jesus.
It's also because Danny didn't just watch. He just watched Ginger Snaps, and we just watched Sharknado. So.
Yeah, Sharknado killed any libido in me. It killed any libido in me. I was like, oh
yeah,
my
basically.
God. But
yeah, Sharknado doesn't.
I was like, I'm never gonna be horny again.
It's just fucking. Once you see Ian Ziering, you're like, oh, who needs this?
Ginger-nado.
Get rid of my genitals. The gore factor, pretty good, I think. But it's not really. It's only like two deaths.
It really doesn't have much gore.
Yeah, there's not too much.
There's about 3 deaths that happen, mostly off screen. The
most brutal thing is like her transition could be a little gross at points, but that's about it.
Her trying to cut her tail off was kind of oof. I can imagine anybody cutting their own tail off, that kind of stuff.
Icky.
But I think the humor in the film is pretty subtle. It's subtle in the way like Jennifer's body is. You know, it's not overtly trying to make you laugh out loud.
I like the scene where it goes back to class after she stabs him in the neck with the needle. That's funny.
Yeah, I think I like Bridget as a character. I mean, she's kind of like dour, but I think she serves a purpose without being like a total asshole where you're like, oh wow, her life is so horrible. I think we just set in with these girls are kind of dark enough, but not dark enough where you're like reading their posts on Tumblr and being like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays, these girls will probably be posting on Tumblr about how awful their life is. And
well, I like this movie because it sometimes like it just borders slightly on the absurd sometimes, like with the guidance counselor who's just so like terrifying and ridiculous.
I wonder why.
And then like when they go to
but
like
you can't blame them.
I know, but
Can
also
you imagine if you were picture if you were a teacher and some kids came in with all like slideshows of them committing suicide, you would have to be like disturbed by that.
In what context would that be in class? That they show a film like that in class? Like it was just like an art class or something? It was just very strange.
I don't know.
I can't remember what class it was supposed to be.
Did you really
or buy? Even said.
Did you guys really buy the drug dealer being into Bridget at all, or was it kind of like out of left field?
I mean, he wasn't really into her. He just wanted to help her because he's like a nerd.
Yeah.
But he felt kind of bad about it when she was coming on to him, the sister, and he was like stopping and he kicked her off.
Yeah, because he wasn't into that.
that
'Cause she's a fucking werewolf.
I didn't want her to die. Him to die. He was a nice guy.
I know.
He kind of reminded me of Bobby Briggs after Bobby becomes a good guy towards the end of Twin Peaks.
Oh,
Spoiler
God.
alert.
Jesus. Anyway, so what film stylistically what kind of film stylistically you guys lean this film towards? Like, do you see it more like Evil Dead type, like Sam Raimi kind of crazy?
Nah.
No?
Nah, it is like what you guys
crazy.
said. It's like a coming of age-ish sort of. It's like a Daria. It's like Daria meets werewolf.
I would say, like we said before, the films that it's closer to are like Excision or Teeth, something like that, where it's a huge parable about. Is it parable? Is that the right word, or is it like what's the word? Allegorical film. Right?
He's using big words today.
I don't know. You're the one that's like a film.
Alex has that thesaurus out.
I'm trying to use something for words with friends later.
Kind of. It's kind of allegory, I think. I don't really know. It's been a long time since I've been in school.
Wait, what other words can we use?
Sternocleidomastoideus. That's pretty good.
Oh, no.
That's actually a bone in your shoulder.
Onomatopoeia.
Okay, so what do you guys think of the best aspects of the film that you think people would want to watch this for?
Because you get to see Ginger. She's hot.
She's very pretty.
That's all. That's it. That's all.
No, I said mine already. I like the movie. I already said the reasons I like it.
It's a realistic depiction of growing up, and it could almost be like a standalone, just growing up movie if it didn't have the werewolf bits in it. But because it has the werewolf angle of it, it's both of those things at once, and that's what I really like.
And it's a different take on werewolves because usually it's like the silver bullets and the full moon only, and that's it.
Yeah.
This is like a slow. This is kind of like a what's his name? Body horror. Who's that guy?
The
director.
The guy who did
Cronenberg?
Videodrome. Cronenberg, right? It's
Cronenberg. Yeah, it's kind of like almost like slightly like that feeling.
It's commentary at the same time that it's just kind of like a straight up horror movie.
In this film, the werewolves can get killed by getting run over by cars too, so it's very weird in that way. Because when the guy says that he found bits,
that's what they should have done. They should have driven, that drug dealer's car into the house.
It was funny because
with a needle attached to the fender of it, the needle with the cure in it.
The drug dealer said that he found a circumcised dick in the pile of guts when he hit the dog, which I thought was pretty funny. So obviously it turned into a guy at some point. But yeah.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Yeah, it says that's why he figured it was lycanthropy, which is I guess.
So that's why Bridget couldn't prove that her sister was a werewolf because it turned back into her sister eventually.
Right, and I thought that was a pretty fitting and sad final image of her sitting over her sister because their whole plan at the beginning was to die together at 16, and then Bridget always telling her sister, why would you kill yourself? I would be left. That kind of sadness. So when she's forced to kind of kill her sister at the end, which I thought was kind of really, was it Deus Ex Machina, where she kind of just jumps into the knife in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, I hate that I use that phrase. I'm such an asshole.
Well, you've got that.
Deus Ex Machina is like a plot device that comes out of left field to just sort of bring it all to an end.
The
so
author
it makes sense.
In a solution, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So I like that final image because it was sad and it just kind of ended right there. But they set it up for a sequel, and the sequel had an even more.
You guys should definitely watch the sequel.
I know it had an even more.
I'm gonna watch it because I like it. What about the prequel though? Is that any good?
I haven't watched that one yet.
Because it sounds stupid. What I was reading about it sounds kind of stupid.
I've heard mixed things, but I'm curious.
I'm
curious to. I probably will watch it.
It's 100 years earlier, but it's the same actresses playing themselves.
Yeah, it sounds like a rehash. I thought when I was reading the storyline for it, kind of sounds like if they've been these sisters throughout time. I don't know. It sounds kind of retarded, but
they're time-traveling werewolf sisters.
That I'd watch. Just throw Dr. Evil in there, right?
But you should watch it, Danny, because Catherine Isabel's in it again, and even though you might not see her boobs, you can pretend you might.
Well, you see the body doubles boobs,
right?
And it's sad. That saddens me.
But you can pretend it's hers.
I'm gonna watch them both because this is like one of those movies I've heard of forever. and I've never seen it, which is like most movies actually.
It's funny because
Yeah.
we try to pick like female-centered horror films for Thea to like be really intelligent through, and then Danny just talks about tits like throughout the half of it.
Okay,
It's pretty
have you
great.
guys ever seen Shallow Hal with George Costanza from
Yes,
Seinfeld?
of course, with the
Yeah.
He has a
prehensile
tail in
Yeah,
that.
he does.
He does. He has a primordial tail.
And it's similar to this tail. I wonder if he's a werewolf.
And
What
with
is your
that note,
rating for
yeah,
this movie,
Jesus,
guys?
for Christ's sake, Thea, what's your rating on this film?
I'll give it 9 out of 10 brightly colored packages of pads.
Wait, can you? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I originally had another thing with an 8 out of 10 appeasing your sister by drinking a guy's blood while you're watching, but I'll give it an 8 out of 10 reward cake for having your period.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 7. We're going in order here. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Having sex with a girl who basically rapes you and then the next day peeing blood to your horror.
Danny cannot get this off of his mind. So with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Banga Banga Craft Store.
The horror deconstruction.